Sal Paolantonio, a Sal Pal Friday. Thanks to our friends Johnny G and the crew at Burger. They do a great job. And, of course, they bring you Sal Pal with us right here through this offseason on 97.3 ESPN on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Sal Pal, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing real good. How's everybody down there at the Jersey Shore?
We are hanging in there. I think everybody is wondering what is next for this Philadelphia Eagles football team. As we know, this head coaching search, there's a couple names off the board. I guess Jeffrey Lurie is having a couple interviews as we speak.
Yeah, apparently he's interviewing Deuce Staley and Gerard Mayo. Both, interesting. I would call them B-level candidates. I mean, not in any kind of disrespect. I mean, they're not widespread belief that they are head coaching material. At least they haven't had interviews anywhere else.
Yeah, Deuce Staley, obviously, assistant head coach here. He's been here for a while. Probably one of the fans' favorites. But how realistic of a option is Deuce? And people keep asking me, and I don't really know the right answer because he's been in the organization. Why isn't Deuce taken seriously? Why isn't he, thought to be a really high-level candidate?
I would hire Deuce. I would definitely hire Deuce. I would have no hesitations hiring Deuce Staley. I think Deuce Staley is tough with these players, and they need somebody who's tough. They know him well. I think he has credibility in that locker room as well as other locker rooms around the NFL. I think he would be a good overall leader of the team. I would hire Deuce Staley, and then I would want to know who's my offensive coordinator, because he's going to need one. I don't want him being the offensive coordinator, the play caller. I want him being the leader of the organization, setting the tone. And I would hire him to do that, for sure. I'd rather have him than somebody coming in from the outside. If I know I have a strong offensive coordinator and a strong quarterbacks coach who's going to hold these quarterbacks accountable, I'm all for that. And I'm all for hiring Deuce Staley if I know I have a strong defensive coordinator. I don't know who he likes. Maybe he doesn't get to, have the final say in that. Maybe that's a Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie deal. It probably is going to be. It sounds like Jeffrey Lurie wants to have major input now in every direction of the team. That's not necessarily a good thing based on what I heard from Jeffrey Lurie earlier in the week. I can tell you that.
Sal, I mean, outside the organization, there's a lot of names out there. I want to ask you about Eric Bieniemy, considering he's an Andy Reid guy, and if that makes him more likely just because of that tie. Do they go right back down the Andy Reid road? I
would. If you're not going to hire Deuce Staley, you're going to hire somebody outside the organization, Eric Bieniemy would be my number one candidate. Again, we're looking for a CEO type, a strong leader who has respect in the locker room and respect in locker rooms around the country. He's strongly respected within circles around the league among coaches. And he has the added dimension of really, knowing the ins and outs of play calling. He's done a really good job as a play caller. No, he's got Andy Reid on his shoulder as a mentor day in and day out. And obviously that happens to really help him quite a bit. But if of all the outside candidates, Michael, Bieniemy would be my number one choice.
All right, so that would say over his teammate there, Mike Kafka, Todd Bowles, who you mentioned on our show last week, Lincoln Riley, Brian Daboll, who you're going to have to wait on a little bit, Gerard Mayo, who you mentioned, Joe Brady's another interesting young guy. A lot of people, in fact, he's the betting favorite right now. What does that mean to you?
If they hire a guy named Brady to replace Doug Peterson, that is a headline writer's dream.
That's a good point. I never thought of that angle.
I mean, come on. If you can't beat him, join him. That's the first headline that comes with me. But, I mean, I don't know. Joe Brady's a very young guy with very little experience, hasn't really done much in the league. I mean, he seems like a sharp guy, but I'm looking for a guy with instant credibility. Because Doug Peterson was a great leader of men and did the best head coaching job in franchise history. Those are big, big shoes to fill, and you got to have some real, tough moxie to do that. And I think Deuce Staley does. The enemy does. Todd Bowles for sure. He would be a good choice. I'm not so sure about Brandon Staley, Joe Brady. Some of these guys are really young and really just coordinators, up-and-coming coordinators. It takes a long time. Look what's going on in Cincinnati with Zach Taylor. Look what's going on in Green Bay. That was a rocky road there with Aaron Rodgers for a while. And if you don't have Aaron Rodgers, it's not really working out for you. I mean, look what happened with McAdoo in New York. Not ready for prime time for sure.
So that would eliminate a guy like Kellen Moore, then, you would say.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. I was surprised to hear that he was, even getting considered. But Art Smith.
Shocked.
Yeah, right. Art Smith, I guess they really liked him. They lost out on him. Robert Saleh, they missed out on him. Were either one of those two guys that you would have said, you like them better than who's left?
Well, you go into, all right, well, they interviewed Robert Saleh right after the Jets did, and Saleh chose the Jets. What does that tell you about the Eagles situation? They interviewed Arthur Smith, and Arthur Smith chose the Falcons over the Eagles. What does that tell you? Mm-hmm. It tells you one of two things. Either the Eagles weren't moving fast enough, not interested, or it's not that great of a job.
Well, I will counter with this, Sal. The last time they wanted to hire Adam Gase, he went to Miami. They wanted to hire McAdoo. He turned around on the turnpike and went to New York, and it was almost like the Eagles got stuck with Peterson. And how'd that work out?
Yeah, I listen. It was a stroke of luck that they wound up with Peterson, and not Gase and not McAdoo, because Peterson. Hey, Mike, I just want to say this: I'm sad to see Peterson go, and not because I got along with him and I'm friendly with him. It's hard to find a guy who's going to win you a Super Bowl. And I want to go back to the comment I made about Jeffrey Lurie in that press conference. That press conference was something that Lewis Carroll would write. He didn't deserve to be fired, but I fired him anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm late for a very important date. I mean, come on. That was straight out of Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
He doesn't deserve to be fired, but I fired him anyway.
Yeah, that whole press conference was
the whole thing
was
thing.
mind-boggling.
And here's the words that I didn't hear. Here are the words I didn't hear. Maybe they are implied, but as the leader of the organization, which is a civic enterprise that everybody's invested in emotionally, financially, and with their time and effort, here are the words I did not hear him say, and that was, I'm looking for the next head coach who will win me a Super Bowl, who will win this deserving fan base a Super Bowl. I'm looking for a coach who will win a Super Bowl. And of all those guys that are out there right now, I'm asking you, Mike Gill, because I do respect your opinion or I wouldn't be on your show. What guy do you think can come in here and turn this organization around? Because right now it's dysfunctional, capital functional, bad. What guy out there right now could turn this team around quickly and win a Super Bowl? Of all the guys, in-house and out.
Yeah, my favorite guy on this list, I think, is Brian Daboll. And you said something today with Bart Scott that made me think this. And you said the starting quarterback is an organizational decision. That means the guy who coaches this team has to buy into who the quarterback is. Either one of these quarterbacks, he's worked with Jalen Hurts at Alabama, and he has worked with Allen and has to see some Allen in Wentz. So I feel like no matter which quarterback the organization decides on, that guy will say, give him to me, and I'll make it work.
Okay, so we haven't talked about it, Brian Daboll. You didn't ask me about him. But I would say of all the guys that are out there, Brian Daboll has definitely been the most successful as an offensive coordinator, but I think Brian Daboll is attracted to the Chargers job, and they're attracted to him. Mm-hmm. And if I were Brian Daboll, I would take the Chargers job because you have Justin Herbert. Boom, boom, done. You don't have a quarter. You're not walking into a home cook quarterback controversy or salary cap hell. And LA's a pretty nice place to live.
Oh yeah, there's no.
Notwithstanding the current circumstances, it's usually a pretty nice place to live.
Right, exactly. But you asked which guy. To me, that's the guy that I think is the best fit and the best. For what you said, the starting quarterback is an organizational decision. They're going to have to all come together. And what if Eric Bieniemy says, "Well, I'd rather have Jalen Hurts," and then you got the other side saying, "Well, we're going with Carson Wentz." I mean, you don't want to get off.
Forget it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So if I'm Eric Bieniemy, first question I ask is what? I ask Jeffrey Lurie, who's my quarterback?
Yep.
Because this is your decision. You paid him.
Right.
What are we
you
doing?
can't walk into a situation which is already dysfunctional and stir the pot even more.
Oh, no, definitely not. It has to be decided before the guy's hired. He has to agree. And that's a bad situation to be handed.
Yep.
I realize there's only 32 jobs, right? And you'll take the job because it's not easy to find. If you've been shut out for a long time like Eric Bieniemy or Deuce Staley, you're taking a job. You're taking it. I get that. But if you have choices, if you're Brian Daboll and you have a choice, you're going to the Chargers.
The only thing I would say, and I agree with the current situation, that feels better, but it's like the Philadelphia Eagles, for whatever Jeffrey Lurie's tenure, 27 years, they have been relevant. They have had success while they are hitting a bump in the road. The Chargers can't say that. The Jets can't say that. The Falcons can't say that. The Eagles can. So in the end, while they don't seem to have stability now over Jeffrey Lurie's tenure, he can at least say, yeah, we're going through a rough patch, but we always seem to get it right.
Well, okay, fine. So the last time they were in this predicament, they hired Chip Kelly. Took them 3 years to get out of it, and they got lucky with Doug Peterson. So I would counter that by saying, you look at this team, they won 4 games, 3 against backup quarterbacks, and the other one on the Thursday night when the quarterback fell down and the Pro Bowl tight end dropped the pass that would have sealed the victory. So they got 4 wins that have asterisks as far as I'm concerned. So
yeah,
I'm looking at this team and the age of the roster and the quarterback controversy and the salary cap predicament and the fact that they have no head coach, no offensive identity, no defensive coordinator. Who they have to play next year? Mike.
Those Sal Pal Fridays might not be too fun on Fridays next year.
Mike, I don't know, Mike. I just don't know.
Where are you going to be this weekend? Are you watching from home?
I am flying to New Orleans.
Oh, look at that. You got the big prime time game. They put Sal Pal on the big one, looking for another Bart Scott moment, I feel.
Listen, I'm always at the number one game. You know why? Because that's the game I'm
at. Sunday night right here on 97.3 ESPN. We'll have that game for you. It should be a fun divisional round. That's going to be a fun one. All the games very intriguing. And, of course, this Eagles situation. Sal Pal Fridays will continue through the offseason thanks to our guy Johnny G and Berger and the great people over there that have brought you Sal Paolantonio here on this Friday.
Thank you to Johnny G and the Grinder team at Berger Realty in Ocean City. I can't wait to go to OC in the spring or summer and go to Uncle Bill's Pancakes, and we'll do it up. I got a question, though, about the Bucs Saints before I get off the phone. That line keeps going down.
I saw that. Open 10. I think it's 9.5.
Oh, no. It's down to 2.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. You said the Bucs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Bucs Saints. Well, the last time they played, the Saints beat them 38-3. They outscored the Bucs this year by 46 points, and the line is less than 3. Mike, why?
Recency biased, right?
AC, what in the world is going on with that line?
I thought about the same thing because when they played on opening day, that was kind of a surprise. The Buccaneers won that game on the road, right? That game was
no. The Buccaneers lost the game. The Saints won both games.
The Saints won that game on the road, and then they smashed them the second time. So you're right. You're thinking, why is it? I think it's just recency bias, and they think they can get money on Brady.
Oh man!
Right?
If Brady goes in there and beats the Saints in that game.
They see a short line, and people will put money on Brady because of the short line.
I will be shocked if Brady goes in there and wins that game. I will be shocked. Right. I tell you what, I looked at it 7 different ways, and I don't see it happening. It would be a shocker of all shockers.
That will ring in my mind on Sunday night while I'm watching that game now.
You got to agree with me. I mean, they just have had no answer for that Saints offense. The score was 31-0 at halftime the last time they played on November 8th.
Yeah. And it's Todd Bowles distracted thinking about this Eagles job.
All right, listen, we'll talk next Friday, and, you be good. And, again, thanks to Johnny G, and we'll talk soon.
All right, Sal Paolantonio, ESPN, of course, every Friday right here on the Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN with a Sal Pal Friday.